Broke on Wednesday afternoon, many South Africans have been paying tribute to the late poet and political activist Professor Keorapetse William Kgositsile, popularly known as Bra Willie. The country mourns the sad passing of one of the giants of our liberation struggle, who was renowned for his accomplishments in the education, arts and culture sectors. He was highly regarded even beyond the borders of our country and was a celebrated art intellectual in the continent. This morning we're joined by acclaimed advocate of the spoken word poetry, Napo Masheane, as she pays tribute to Bra Willie. Good morning, Napo, and welcome.
Dumela, yes, thank you for having me.
I really wish we were speaking under different circumstances, but I mean, we are paying tribute to Bra Willie this morning. Just take us through what you went through emotionally, or what went through your mind when you heard on Wednesday of his passing.
I mean, I suppose like everyone else, I was very shocked. I mean, you know, no one ever prepares for death. We ended last year on a very sad note with losing a lot of artists. So we didn't think that, you know, beginning of this year, 2018, that, you know, we're going to lose one of the giants. We're going to lose, you know, a whole library is going to burn in front of our eyes. So it was very sad. It was very, very sad.
And talk to us about how he contributed to you as a person, to you as an author, writer, a poet, and how you related to one another, and how you sort of his path shaped your path.
I mean, I've got so many memories of Bra Willie. First time I met Bra Willie, we were in LA at UCLA. He was still teaching at the English department there, lecturing actually. But fast forward to South Africa, there's been so many incidents where, you know, in different poetry spaces, poetry festivals, Bra Willie, beyond just the performance, will always instill in us, the young poets, the sense of knowing that not poetry alone can pay the bills, number one. Number two, he was somebody very passionate about language and how we need to be careful when we write in our mother tongue or in English or any other language for that matter of the world. What language are we empowering? So he made us aware of that, and I think personally for me, that's one of the things that sort of changed some of my shift in terms of trying to recite my poetry, not just in English alone, but also in Sesotho, to say, yes, related to Kolonsa Mahua, but Kimosotho. So I need to take pride in my culture, in my language, the language, you know, my mother's language, the language that I sucked from my mother's breast. He was a very funny person, a dynamite in a very small package, always humble, always relaxed, always imparting knowledge. I mean, how Bra Willie also talking about Ndate Don Matera, you know, and I can name them. And these are walking, living libraries that most of us, we learn from. We sit in their classroom, even if they don't know. And we just constantly learn and look up to them, the way they use language, the way they inspire us, and using this ancient, you know, historic, you know, form of performance, which is poetry.
You speak of these legends and these walking libraries as you describe Bra Willie, but sometimes they're not always celebrated. Their works are forgotten. How do we ensure that we preserve what they know, and that we make sure that we take knowledge, we take lessons, and we run with them as young people? How do we make sure that we protect not just their talents, but preserve their work in our modern day lives?
I think we need, it's sad that now he's gone, that most of us, when somebody has gone, especially from, you know, culturally, will say somebody has to pick up the baton. But I think in celebrating, in this tribute that all of us are doing by remembering and keeping Bra Willie's memory alive, it's very important. And I was having a conversation with Mam Shedo 2 days ago, and I said that it's also the undocumented conversations that he shared with us that we need to carry through, you know, about the language, about not just being carried away by the fame and being celebrated as a poet, but by paying attention to what poetry really is, and the writing, but also reading extensively and being informed as a young writer, so that you're not danger to yourself or to society. So these are kind of things that I feel like going forward, most of us, we need to instill those and pass those to the younger generation generation that never had the same opportunities that we had. Bra Willie, lucky enough, has published extensively. He's known all over the world. I mean, he was being celebrated in New York.
And do you have a favorite poem by him? Won't you share it with us?
I do. It's from one of his books, This Way I Salute You, which is a lot of poems that he, tributed to different people. There's one called When Things Fall Apart, after and for Chinua Achebe. I lost my virginity and ran into a world laced with hoes. In the silence of the night, often past the midnight hour, when my voice dries up behind my tongue, behind corpses that wrestle in my mind, I wonder where the wind is. If you are afraid of your reflection, do not come my way. At times, I am a mirror. If I'm a receptacle, you will see your life and the particles of your death collected in me. There's no serenity here, past the slow wrestle of our quick decay, laying in ambush around the street corners. Mirror or receptacle, where no dreams come to roost in the night. I travel from where we have been to where we might have been. Through the silences, my prayer. Sound, where did even beer cans find your relationship to the wind? Spirit, I called up you tree as baobab, but where did your soil go?
Oh, Napo, if I was in a poetry session right now, the room, and I know you know this, would come alive in sweet melodies of the clicking of the fingers, as we say encore. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
The local and international literary world is in mourning after the passing of world-renowned poet and political activist Professor Keorapetse Kgositsile, who died in Johannesburg on Wednesday at the age of 79. We do indeed celebrate a life well lived.